let's go back to the first topic, an introduction of games theory. And then in the next topic, I will explain how to analyze a 17-minute move game. So to analyze a game, so we assume all players are active and also rational. Okay. During the analysis, there's one phenomenon always exists. There's the infinite regression chain. And the question is how to break this chain and to obtain the best solutions of the two players. And this particular point is the equilibrium point. And later we use a special name for this equilibrium point. That's a Nash equilibrium. Inside this Nash equilibrium, or this last equilibrium point should include the best strategies of players. Okay. So consider this example. So 10 persons, or they have a dinner, or they can pay the bill in two different ways. So if the each of these 10 players pays for their own meal, then this is the issue problem, not a game. All right. But if they split the bill, now then this is not a decision problem anymore. This is a game problem. Okay. So later you will analyze this dilemma. So several persons, they go for a dinner. They agree to share. Right, go to the one of the players. All players agree to share. Right. Now, you use your smartphone play the order. Do you play an extensive dinner? Then all players share okay. Okay, good. So now you talk with the other, right? So suppose one of the players plays this order one time. So that's the order of this person. And that's you. When you order either you over that $100. $100? $1 or just $100? This is a dilemma. If you order a dinner with 150, right, and now they are able to share $25, pay $25. And then how about C? That this person knows that A plays an order of $100, and the classmate plays an order of $150. That's supposed to C. We just place an order of $125 or even higher. High. Too high. Okay. And then B. Hey, this person knows the order of another thing, and this person knows your order either by one. Of course, the best way is not to share here. Each one just pay their own. This is a key point. But if all players share it, then the decision made by each will be better by the decision made by the other. All right. Well, hopefully from this example, no one's a decision problem. So your decision will not affect the decision made by the others. But when we're talking about game, we're talking about the facts. The decision you choose or chosen affected by the decision made by. Okay. So the question is how to analyze a game, not a decision problems, a game. All right, then let's move to the next topic. So in the previous classes, so I did tell you in this course, you consider those as simultaneous move game, sequential move game. All right. So this part, the simultaneous move game, is separated into two parts, and covered in two. And this topic is covered by two parts, chapter 2 and also chapter 3. So a simultaneous move game, that means games where players make decisions simultaneously. Then what does it mean simultaneously? So basically, we assume all players, they cannot cooperate. They cannot communicate. That's the key. All right. How to make decision, each player does not know other player's decision. Okay, but for this case, if all persons or players, they use their smartphone to place the order. So players, they do not know the decision made by. All right. To play safe, if all persons share the bill to play safe, then the player plays very, very expensive order. Because each person knows that other is share. Okay. Simultaneously, not necessary at the same time. Okay. So players make the decision at the same time. Okay, like the paper, rock, scissors, or the soccer penalty kick. All right, but we assume also make an assumption. They make decision not at the same time, but the point is they cannot cooperate. Okay, so like the example, the Princess Bride that example. So the two players, the prince and the thief, they did not make the decision at the same time. The two players, they did not know the decision made by the others, although they did not make the decision at the same time. But we still consider this is a simultaneous move game. All right. So to analyze the game, we need to know some information. I mean, we assume the information is complete, although the information is not perfect. All right, we need to know the perfect or the complete information of the data. So complete information means that all possible choices that could be made by others, all right, these are considered as common knowledge. Players should know the choices of himself or herself, and also the choices of the other players. Okay, and also the outcome, the consequence of making strategies or choice. So paper, rock, and scissors. Consider this game, right? So suppose there are only two players. Each player has three choices. There's three people, right? And also there's a common knowledge for the rule. Paper is rock, and rock is scissors. we take common knowledge. Next change. Okay. And for the Princess Bride that problem. So if the player choose a wrong cup, and in which there's a poison, then that player will die. All right, and the other one will survive. So later, when we talk about the sequential move game, then the information will be perfect. If you play tic-tac-toe, the other game, 2 players. Okay, so if the first player choose this one, put a cross here, then move to the second player. Then the second player should have the perfect information or should know the decision made by the first player and then make the choice. So I suppose the second player put the circle in these positions. Then go back to the first player. The first player, again, has perfect information about the choice of the second player. Okay. So when we conduct the simultaneous move game, we consider those information are complete but not perfect. All right. The simple way to analyze a game, there's a 2-stage method. The first stage, we construct a normal form of a game. And then use mathematics, use logical reasoning, and also a graph to identify the best decisions of the players. Right? And then at the end, to identify the equilibrium point, which will improve the best decision of all players. So consider this paper, rock, scissors, and there are 2 players. Okay, so according to the rule, paper beats rock, rock beats scissors. If one player choose paper, then the best response of the second player will be scissors. If the second player choose scissors, then the best response of the first player is rock. If the first player choose rock, then the best response of the second player is the paper. Then obviously, an infinite regret occur. All right. So how to break this change? So now let's go back to this example. If David's decision is made, then Michael's back for decision. If David's decision is wrong, then Michael's back for is right. And if David's decision is scissors, then Michael's back for wrong. Similarly, we find the best response of Michael to the decision made by David. Okay. So consider this game, and we identify the couple. All right. Let's go back to the previous slide. So now I give the formal name of these couple. Dark and on now. Right. So to identify the not level for game, here we are not level for a lot. Okay. So what the last equilibrium point is it exists. Then this equilibrium point should include the best response of all players. And no player can be better off. I mean, get a better result. Either over, higher over. The outcome for the payoff is possible. Right? From changing his or her vision at this point. Right? So player will stick on the strategies of the last equilibrium, and the last equilibrium will improve So using the two-stage method, so now check how many stages work. That is important one. All right, 2 players, 3 players. Okay, and each player also strength choices and the outcome. First part is obtain complete information. Okay. Then find the best response vision for each player, and then sparkle method or method identify. Okay. So let me use one example. Or this is Tianjin horse racing. And this event happened roughly more than 2,000 years ago in China. Okay. So consider the state Qi, all right? And the king is king white. And the general is the Tianji. Okay, if you don't know any Chinese, don't worry. Okay, no problem. So the king white and General Tianji, they play a game of horse racing. So they have each player has 3 horses. All right. So namely as K as 1, 2, and 3. K represent the king's horse. So the K1, that's the fastest horse of the king. And K2 is the median of king. All right. And the K3 is the slowest horse of the king. The general's horse is named as T1, again the fastest. The T2 medium and T3 slowest. So that's the rule of the game. For 2 horses at the same level, 1, 2, or 3, same level. King's horse is always faster than Tenji's horse. So here we know that K1 always better than T1 because of these 2 horses are the same level. And K2 is always better than T2, the same level. K3 is always better than T3, same level. Okay. The second rule for 2 horses at different levels. The horse at the higher level is always faster than the horse at the lower level. So is K1 always better than T1, better than T2, better than T3? Okay. And K2, because of these 2 are in different levels. All right. So T1, the fastest horse of Tenji, will beat the median of horse of K. All right. So here again, T3. 2 different levels. All right. So now the 2 players, King White and General Tenji, play this horse racing game. So in each round of race, each player assign a horse, no matter it's level 1, level 2, or level 3. Horses in these 3 rounds should be different. Because if we don't set this rule, then obviously King will use K1 for these 3 rounds. All right. In a case, both King and Tenji choose the same horse, all right, order for their race, same order. So in the first round, King choose K1. And then second round, K2, K3, order. Round 1, round 2, round 3. And Tenji, the general, also choose the same order as T1, T2. These 2 horses are the same level. According to the rule, King's horse K1, hit K1. Here, K2 also hit K2, and K3. So the king here again, all right, and by 3-7. Okay, these two players, the king and also the general, use the same sequence. So after the race, now you can see that king white wins the game. So 10G wants to win. The general wants to win. So 10G opposed to Sun Ben, the advisor, all right, a descendant of Sun Mo. So this person, Sun Mo, wrote a book, or that's the 13 chapters, The Art of War. So you can get this book from internet, all right. In the time, working in the business, all right, business environment, politics, people always read this book, all right. So in the other day, again, King and 10G play the games again, all right, and suggested by Sun Ben. This time, 10G change the order. So here, Kings is inactive, not rational. King keep the same order. In the first round, play the fastest horse. Round 2, play the medium horse. And round 3, play the slowest horse. But 10G is taking the advice from change the order. So here, this is the order, all right, made by the 10G. So Sun Ben suggests in the first round, play T3. And then in the second round, play T1. And the third round, play T2. Now you can see the result is 1-2. 10G won 2 rounds and just lose 1 round. So for the whole game, 10G won the game. The question is, in this point, we assume the king is inactive. Keep the original sequence. And 10G is active. Change the sequence. All right. So what shall we?
The simplified version of the story is that King of Qi and his general Tianji are having a horse race. King of Qi set the horses into strong, medium, and weak tier of horses in a best 2 out of 3 matches. Tianji worries about the race since the king's horses were superior than his, so he went to his buddy Sun Bin for help. While Sun Bin is not a horse racing expert, but he is a strategist, so he suggested, why don't you use your weak horse against King's strong horse, and use your medium horse against his weak horse, and use your strong horse against his medium horse. That way you have a winning chance. So Tianji did what Sun Bin told him to, and well, no surprise, he won 2 out of the 3 matches. Now, King of Qi was actually surprised that Tianji actually won, so he asked, well, how you did it? So after learning about Sun Bin's strategy, King of Qi hired Sun Bin as his military strategist. Okay, so that was a pretty clever plan by Sun Bin. But if you actually think about it for a little bit, you can see a problem here. Yeah, Sun Bin basically cheated. He ignored the tier of the horse rule set out by the king himself. And that's where the controversy about this idiom comes from. A lot of people argue that this isn't really a clever strategy, but just simply cheating. But some historians suggest that this is not about the horse race, but the result of Sun Bing being hired into Qi's court. King of Qi set up the race rules and expected an honorable match, but Sun Bing broke the rule and won. He tried to show that in the chaotic time of the warring state period, only the strong and cunning will.
Well, the survival of the fittest.
The simplified version of the story. Tianji's horse race is used when you or someone is in a disadvantaged situation and still needs to find a way to win. And the pronunciation of this the simplified version of the chaotic time of the warring state period. Only the strong and cunning will survive. For King of Qi, losing a horse race is nothing, but this made him see that he need to expect the unexpected. Because on the battlefield, but the stakes are life and death, rule and honor means nothing. Regarding the actual use of this idiom, Tianji's horse race is used when you or someone is in a disadvantaged situation and still needs to find a way to win. And the pronunciation of the
Angie can arrange the 3 horses, these 6 orders. The first round, Angie play P1. In the second round, Angie can play P2 or P3. If Angie play P2 in the second round, then in the third round, because Angie can only play the same horse, play in the first 2 rounds. For the last round, you get P3. If Angie play P3 the second round, then in the last round, Angie play P2. So here, the other 2 possible the last 2 total points. Angie can choose any one of these 6 points. If the king uses these sequence, K1, K2, and K3, these 3 rounds, you can see that. If the king uses these K1, K2, K3, right, the best response of 10G to the ignition made by the king. If the king uses K1, K2, K3, and 10G choose the first option, and 10G so if 10G choose these different 1, 2, 3, and 3, if 10G choose this 1, only 6 3, 1, 1, okay. So once we have the complete information of the game, then check the response, the best response, the decision. Right? Take this turn K1, K2, K3. To win the game, that decision can third must be three, K1. Okay. So here on the word about the targets, here provide the translation of the suggestion. Right? Knowing the enemy and knowing yourself and the enemy battle game. Not knowing the enemy but knowing yourself what means what if you know nothing about yourself and also your enemy and now certainly right. So now let's go back to this case. Alright. So hey, it's nothing about what strategy can you do. And case what we have always use the K1 case. But how about if the case is also at case and case? So here are the six voices and if we can identify the possible point case. Case can choose one of these six points. So it came with the same smart or admin achievement and 10G, then what would happen? So how to solve the game is using to find 10 special response choice of things or multiple points. So if K use these sequence K1, K2, K3. The best is one of 10 in order to win the game. K3, K1. Then 10 here, you win the game right. You take other sequence. And you take one. Take four. Right? And 10 is best response to this position made by the sequence in T3, T2, T1. Listen, T3, and T1, T2. It can give the game by T1. And if the K use this sequence, K2, K1, K3, then the best response of 10G. The sequence is T1, is T2. And it can give the game by T1. If the K K2, K3, then the best response of 10G is okay. Now, King's best response choice for each of 10 is in here, we have identified best response of 10 to the different that we must identify best response of 8. One can construct a sniffer. And it can use this sequence, T1, 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 or T1. So here, if NG order is 1, T2, T3, then the best response of the K to be K1, K2, K3. You may argue that the K can choose this one, this one, this one, this one, or this one. But now check it out. Outcome of that. Here the K will win the game by 1 only. 2 to 1 only. 1 to 2 loop A, 2 to 1. best one. Okay. A1, A2. With the A1, A2. Okay. Now, suppose NG can arrange the three horses in this six. If NG's order is P1, P2, P3, then K's order, next one is K1, K2, K3. Not K1 will be K1, K2 will be K2, and K3 will be K3. But K with I3 0. How about if can this order P1, P2, P2? That's one. With the K and of K minus K1, K3, K4. Same order. Alright? Now we have the best one of the K to the decision made by the and but when who players play this game, do they know they should make that happen? And you use this sequence, P1, P2. The best response of the K, P1, K2, K3. If NA pick the K will use this sequence, K1, K2, K3, and no go back in here. And then K will change its strategy. If the K pick and will use this strategy, P3, P1, P2, and the K will change the strategy. K3, K1, K2. But obviously, the finite red chain occurs. So the question is how red chain the K. So before making the ordering decision, you can take and then we know the order of each other. But next, how to score. Each player has 6 choices. The best outcome, the king wins the game with the score 3-0. The best outcome of 10-8 win the game by 2-1. So what this part will be analyzed in chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 5. Right? So how to make decision in games? All right. So basically, we wish to break this infinite regress. The best response. All right. Consider this example. The paper, rock, and scissors. Okay. So these are this is the complete information. Okay. 2 players. Or each player has 3 options, and we know the rule. Okay. We use a diagram. See whether the equilibrium point exists or not. Michael can choose paper, rock. David can choose paper, rock, or scissors. So here, if Michael chooses paper, the best response of David, is okay. If Michael chooses rock, the best response of David to be paper. And similarly, if Michael chooses scissors, then the best response of David pawn. Now we go to David. If David choose pawn, the best response of Michael. If David choose rock, then the best response of Michael. Alright. Okay. The last one. If David choose scissors, then the best response of Michael be a rock. Here. Is there any point which include the best response of both players? David and also Michael. So, since there's no point include the best response of the two players, it indicates is not level. That's not occur. Here the game does not have any last level because there's no intersecting point of the two lines, which improves the best responses of the two. If there is an intersection point which improves the best response of the player, then that point is not level. Consider this other example in a normal form. There are two players, namely role player and also column player. The role player can choose one of the two strategies, R1 or R2. The column player can choose either C1 or C2. I use this notation. In each cell, get two numbers. The first number represents role player's payoff. The second number represents column player's payoff. And this is a zero-sum game. But if you check sum of the two numbers, first one 6 plus minus 6. The second one 5 plus minus 5 is 7. One winner, the other one. Okay. So now the two players, the role player and the column player. So each player has two choices. So now we can check. Use the two-stage method. The first stage, check the best response of a player with the decision made by the other. So if the column player chooses C1, role player can choose R1 or R2. If the column player chooses C1, right? The role player can choose R1, obtaining a common of 6 units. Choosing R2, the return is just 4 units. Here, if the column player chooses C1, best response of the role player is R1. Okay. The column player can choose C2. If the column player choose C2, then the role player can choose R1 to get a return of 5 units. And choosing R2, okay, a return of 2. Then the best response of the role player to the decision made by the column player is R1. From these two outcomes, we know that no matter the column player choose C1 or C2, the role player not choose R1. So we consider R2 is a dominated strategy. Dominated strategy or redundant strategy. There's another strategy which can apply higher matter of the other player. And R1 is a dominant strategy. Don't mix up. So R1 is a dominant strategy and R2 is a dominated or redundant strategy. We use a similar approach to determine the best response of the column player to the decision made by the role player. If the role player choose R1, if the column player choose C1, then the column player will be minus. If the role player choose R1, the column player choose C2, then the payoff is minus 5. Which one is that? Minus 5. So if the role player choose R1, then the best response of the column player. If the role player choose R2, again we compare the two green numbers. If the column player choose C1, the payoff is minus 4. If the column player choose a C2, then the payoff is minus 2. Alright, so minus 2 is better than minus 4. So the column player, again we can conclude that no matter the role player choose R1 or R2, the column player should not choose one. And we consider C1 in dominated strategy of the column player. Plus 2 dominant. Since the player, no matter it's role player or column player, they should not choose the dominated strategy or redundant strategy. We can eliminate these two strategies from this table. Role players should not choose R2. We can remove these strategies from consideration. The column player should not choose C1. Again, we can remove this column from the table. Now there's one outcome. So again, we can use a graph, check whether the graph level 4 exists or not. Yeah. If the column player choose C1, the best response of the role player should be R1. If the column player choose C2, best decision of the best response of the role player should be R1. If the role player choose R1, then the best response of the column player should be. If the role player choose R2, best response of the column player. Now you can see this part. This report or this index report of the two lines include the best response of two things. And this is not there. and C2 are the best version of the two players. If any one of these two players, even from these are 11 points, this player will get a lower payoff. So I use a very simple example to show you how to apply the two-stage method to check whether the 11 port or the not 11 port is it or it's not. So I in the paper, rock, and scissors, again, the not 11 but there's no point to include the best position of the thing. So in the second example, there's one point here, which include the best points of this is some point, maybe as the not. Okay. Any question? Okay. So let's move to the Chester dilemma. So in the two chapters, chapter 2 and chapter 3, you will analyze three dilemmas. One is the prisoner dilemma. The second one is the trust dilemma. The third one is silence dilemma. Okay. So this is the background story of these case, prisoner dilemma. All right. Study of the behavior of criminals. So two players, all right, namely as A and B, and they are interpreted independently. They cannot compare, and they cannot perform. So here is the outcome. If A and B both confess, whether each player can see either confess or deny. Right? So if A and B both confess at the time, each of them serve 6 months in prison. That's out. If A confesses but B denies the crime, then A will be set free, whereas B will serve 12 months in jail. Why murder? But if one player chooses confess and the other one chooses deny, then the one choose confess, that's it. The other one, the 12 months. Yeah. If both and A and B both deny the crime, then both of them will only serve 1 month. The best outcome. Right? Because the court can only charge the police and charge the two prisoners by the person very like crime. So now we can construct a normal form. Okay. Right? But before the construction of this normal form, then again check this movie.
Tell us what happened and we'll recommend the light sentence.
Nice try. But I happen to understand a little thing called the prisoner's dilemma.
Is that so?
You have no physical evidence of a crime, so you can only convict us if one of us rats out the others. And since we're all aware of that fact, no one will rat out anyone, and we'll be free in a matter of minutes.
It was all Dilbert. I told him not to chop the body up, but he insisted. He said that's how he gets rid of all his victims. Oh, hi, Dilbert.
Alice? He has always been evil. I felt it. But I never knew how evil until he would not stop plunging that fork into Todd's body. I stopped counting at 100. Oh, God. Hello, Dilbert.
A shock.
May I have that ice cream sandwich you promised me now?
Send it. Given to the players to choose confess. So to analyze this game, Then what strategy will each prisoner consider, confess or deny? So another video.
The prisoner's dilemma has been studied for over 60 years for its insights into political, military, and economic affairs. It tells us that even when the best case scenario is clear, rational individuals, acting in their own self-interest, can bring about the worst case scenario. Let's see how it works. Imagine two criminals, we'll call them Xavier and Yoshi, who robbed a bank. They got caught. As a prosecutor, I don't have enough evidence to convict them, so I need a confession. I separate the two, then offer each a deal. I tell Xavier, if you confess and turn Yoshi in, I'll let you go free. But if you don't confess and he turns you in, you'll take the fall and get 10 years in jail. Xavier, being a bright bank robber, wonders what happens if they both turn on each other. In that case, Mr. X, each of you will go to prison for 8 years. And if we both stay silent, Xavier asks, I can still get you on a lesser charge, a month each for weapons possession. I walk across the hall and offer Yoshi the exact same deal. I even tell him that I'm repeating the offer I made to Xavier. Here's the catch. Xavier and Yoshi can't coordinate with one another. If they could, they would certainly cooperate and keep their mouths shut, accepting a month in jail against the prospect of a decade. But taken in isolation, the rational bank robber will turn his partner in. Consider it from Yoshi's point of view. He's thinking, either Xavier will cooperate and keep his mouth shut, or he'll defect and he'll turn me in. If he cooperates and I cooperate too, we get the best overall outcome, a month each in jail. Yet that still sends me to jail. If I defect, I get off scot-free. On the other hand, he could defect and confess what we've done. If that happens and I stay silent, I get 10 years in jail. If I defect as well, I get only 8 years. So no matter what Xavier does, Yoshi is better defecting and turning his partner in. Xavier, of course, is going through the exact same scenario in his head and coming to the conclusion that no matter what Yoshi does, he should defect and turn him in. Here's the mischievous pickle I put them in. The best case scenario is clear. They should both stay silent. But rational considerations will lead both to turn the other one in, leading to a worst case scenario.
So now we model these things and use the game theory. See what happens. Whether the prisoner or criminals choose confess or deny. So two rational and active players, right? Prisoner A and prisoner B. Who play the game. And two strategies or decisions for each player, confess or deny. And the outcome, if both A and B choose confess, then both 6 months in prison, or this is the worst outcome, right? Both things. If A choose confess and B choose deny, then A is happy, but B serves 12 months in prison. And now the last, but vice versa, the last if both A and B choose deny, then what outcome will be? Then so 1 month ago, right? So here is the game model in normal form. Two players. Prisoner A can choose confess, deny. Prisoner B can choose confess, deny. The number in the table represents the number of months here. So if both players choose confess, then both will put in jail for 8 months. If both players choose deny, then both will put in jail for 1 month. This is the best of two. Right? So we use the two states method, see whether they are not comparable. And whether it's not clever, can send the best payoff to the two things. So now if A choose confess and B choose confess, then the outcome will the zero crop. All right. A with the assembly and B will well put in jail for what 12 months. All right. So now check the best thoughts of a player to the decision made by the others. So again, I use a graph. All right. You will identify best thoughts. All right. So that's the first thing. So if prisoner B choose for best, then the best response of prisoner A. Okay. If prisoner B choose denied, then the best response of A. No matter prisoner B choose or best or denied. A choose for. To identify the best response of B to the decision made by A. You can see that if prisoner A choose confess or choose deny, the dominant strategy of prisoner B not deny. Why? No matter what player choose confess or deny, the other player chooses. But the player does not know choice. So definitely, if one player knows the other player choose deny, the best response of that player is deny. To get the best outcome when you mark it. Since they would not or they cannot communicate that often, right? One player does not know the choice of the other. If one player thinks, the other player will choose confess. If I choose deny, I will obtain to be a serious penalty. All right, to play safe, to protect itself. All right, it's regarding the choice of parties. The best one is the main thing is the two players they can not talk. Right? So next we use a graphical method. Right? So if prisoner B choose confess or deny, then the best response of A confess. Alright. If the role player choose deny or confess, then the best response of the prisoner B is confess. So here is a point which improves the best response of two things. Now go back to the table. So here I use a tree diagram. So there's another method to get the best response of the players. So if B choose confess, then A choose confess, it runs this. And if A choose deny, then determine is this. If B choose deny, A choose confess, still runs this. And choose deny 1 month. This. Now at the end, 8 months is prison, better than strong month. Also here, no month is prison, better than 1 month. Similarly, I've used a tree diagram to identify the best response of A. The decision made by A. Right? A. Dominant strategies of B. So here I provide you the explanation. Dominant strategy of a player is what is always the best player. Right? And the players should not choose any dominated strategy. So I'll go back to the normal form of this table for this game. Here is the normal form of this game. Okay. Now we know that we not break them into these two squares. Regional A is choose for that. Regional B is choose for that. But this is not the best outcome. The best outcome is here. Both choose that. And I both just receive this type of 1, 1. Okay. Now, from this example, now we should know the direction. We have the characteristic of principal dilemma. After studying these now. And one, the characteristic of principal dilemma. Yes. How about that 2 or 3 last later? The first characteristic of principal dilemma is one unique not later, one only, one set, or only one. Right? If you consider golden 4 example, yes, 3 last, right? But the golden 4 example create another dilemma because players can cooperate, right? They can communicate. For the make decision, and the player trust that all of them. There's a trust dilemma. So later we come back to the golden 4 example. Or for that case, there are 2 or more, but more than one. So I think it's considered as a prisoner dilemma game. The first requirement. There's only one last, only one. And this not flavor does not generate the best outcome. Yeah. That's one. Not and if both visitors choose our best. Alright. They will be what you tell what you want. This is not the best outcome. The best outcome, one if they trust each other, if they can communicate and talk, and both get 1, 1. Alright. 2 properties of prisoner dilemma. First one, unique not of unique. Second one, this unique not and point does not generate the best outcome. Okay. Anything to do in the weekend? So I did we end spend some time to handle these classroom things. Alright. This the first question. The material or of the first part of the two. So two players, Mickey and Minnie, will play a game, right? For the boy, Mickey can choose R1 or R2, and Minnie can choose a C1 or C2. The game is presented in a normal form, right? All figures represent Minnie and four. So this is not a zero-sum game. If Mickey choose R1, Minnie choose C1. Then both players can obtain 5 million points. If one player, say, Mickey choose R1 and Minnie choose the girl to C2, then Mickey will get 5 million points. And Minnie will get 4 million points. And if Mickey choose R2, alright, then Minnie choose C1. And Mickey will get $4 million, and Minnie will get $5 million. If Mickey choose R2 and C2, Minnie choose C2, then this time Mickey will obtain $6 million, and Minnie will get $4 million. So again, here's the two-stage method, right? To identify the best of a player in the division made by us. Alright. And then graph to method. So let's check whether the level 4 or not, level 4 is it or not. And then check whether this is a prisoner dynamic game. If you consider this is a prisoner dynamic game, why is it a if you consider this is not a prisoner dynamic game, is why. Okay. So I just provide you the steps, right? You to start these classroom exercise. So I use the notation. The first number represents Mickey's tail, and the second number represents Minnie's tail. So in the first stage, identify the best response of player to the decision made by the other. So if B choose one, Mickey can choose R1 or R2. If Mickey choose R1, then Mickey can get $9 million. Choosing R2, then Mickey will get $4 million. Alright, so the best response of Mickey is R1. If Minnie choose C2, choosing R1, Mickey will get $5 million. Choosing R2, Mickey will get $6 million. So the best response of Mickey to the decision of C2, then the best decision is R1. So obviously, Mickey does not have any combination of answer. Whether you choose R1 or R2, depends on the big five. Okay. And then for each strategy of Mickey, then Minnie's best response. So if Mickey choose R1, then the best response of Minnie is C1 of big 9 million. While if you choose C2 of big 4 million. If Minnie choose R2, then Minnie choose C1 to get 5 million points. Choosing C2, 4 million points. See? Minnie choose 1. So So make it choose out C1 no matter really will choose C1 no matter make it choose out what. So for me, there's one formulator of redundant thread. In order to obtain that thread, really should not choose. Since we know that really do not choose C2 here, can we take this away? From here, we know that really not choose. Yes. Big D will choose our D really choose it. But now we know that really we not choose it. Then indicate big D will not choose our right? So once we have identified the best response of the data, now we can take away the all right? And then also take away. So at the 11th point, make it should choose our one. And really should choose C1. Then last question. That one single not seven. R1 is it a different level? Yes or no? Well, I don't know that. No, one. That although there's one make not level R1, but it's not level of the table. Then best third. So this is a game, but this is not considered as physical effect. Alright. Here is diagram. There's one. Not level. It's not level, then that's how both a big E. No. No. Let's go back. Go back to here. So this is on this is the original diagram. Right? Cái sản phẩm tả ra là phải được. Since the code names take a lot to protect that, right? Then both this is not that's the but obviously this part does not tell you that's out. What the words here just explain this the thread is the report. That's not then that's out. What does it matter? Whether it is facts. But for self-interest, now that whole could normal, right? Need to be our thing. But what the minute if he had keep and choose the security right? Right? Because I'm not going to stand that number. Yeah, right. What the best outcome is more or less the one. Okay. Now, those examples cover in this topic. We just consider two players. All right, A, B, prisoner A, prisoner B. All right. Now, I just increase the number of players. Three players, alpha, beta, and pi. They play a game. In these three tables, you can find the outcome. When here, if pi choose X, right, three players, and each player can choose one of the three options or strategies. So if pi choose X, then alpha can choose X, Y, Z. Beta also can choose X, Y, Z. Okay. Here, if I choose Y, then alpha and beta can choose either X, Y, Z. And the third table, if I choose Z, then alpha and beta can choose X, Y, Z. Okay, I just increase the number of places. So in each cell, you can find three numbers. The first one represents the outcome of alpha. The second number represents the outcome of payoff of beta. Third one is the payoff of alpha. Okay. So in the end, there's some time whether there is any function square of pi, of beta, of alpha. Once the reductant strategy identify who that strategy from the tables, hopefully can reduce the number of tables from 3 to 1 simple. Right? So I just apply two states to matter. For example, if beta and pi, if beta choose X, pi choose X, what is the best result of alpha? If beta choose X, pi choose Y, what is the best result of alpha? Totally, combine the three things, how many alpha? Beta 9. 9 alpha here. 9 alpha here. Alpha 5 alpha. But if you can follow the two things. Okay, first, check best result of three. And two things. Beta, pi. Beta can choose X, Y, 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 and Z, right? Then pi can choose X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, and X, Y, Z. Then check alpha. All right. So if beta choose X, pi also choose X, what is the best response of alpha? Right. If alpha beta choose X, pi choose Z, what's the best response of alpha? Okay. So the next part, check the best response of beta. Choose by beta, alpha, pi. Lastly, check the best response of time, addition made by alpha and beta. 27. Alright. If the deducted strategy exists, remove the strategy from the tables. Right? So, do we add more to add, right? Let's spend some time, that's a half an hour. Then you can construct the tables. Basically, that 3 tables. That's important. Okay. Heavy. And what do we have? Don't forget, spend half an hour, 30 minutes. Okay. Do the first part. Right. Identify all the redundant strategies of the big table, alpha, beta, and time. Start from now, you have to do a lot of calculations. Check your attendance before you leave this classroom.